Okay, good afternoon everyone. This video will detail how to replace a water pump on this Chevy Aveo. It's 2011 and this is the LXV model. The water pump is not driven by the timing belt. The water pump is driven by a regular belt here on top, here on the front of the engine. If you'd like to come over here, you can sort of see my setup for the day. I have the new water pump. This is what it looks like. A new gasket. I went for the AC Delco water pump. This is the water pump pulley belt removal tool, EN49201. I found this on eBay. It was about $8. I'll be hanging on to that one. I also have some various sockets out. I have some gloves I'm going to be wearing, impact wrench. It's always good to have some detailed instructions. I have my Dickey's root beer with me, some bean dip, some of my favorite chips, and you know what? It's Sunday, and the mentality is we're just going to take our time, go step by step through this, and I'll do my best to document the process for you. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I'm not going to show you how to do this, but there's a couple steps. I'm going to remove the negative from the battery, and I'm going to go ahead and get the car up on jack stands. I'm also going to remove the front passenger tire. I'm not sure if this is necessary yet, but when I did the timing belt, it was sure nice having access down there. So I'm just going to whip that tire off anyways at this point. So when I come back, those will be done, and we can get started on the step-by-step process. Thank you. Negative batteries disconnected, car's up on jacks, wheels are off, coolant's been drained. Next thing I'm going to do, remove the air box. Be careful when you remove the air box, because this hose right here can be very brittle and it could split easily. So a couple bolts here, here. Take this part off, unbolt it right there. Boom, air box is out. That's next. Okay, so now we have the engine is supported by the jack stand right now. The air box is out. I loosened the screws for this line. I thought this might get in my way trying to get the water pump out of there. Next thing I'm going to do, these three are out, these three are out. I'm going to take the motor mount off of the car. Okay, so the next part is always sort of the tricky part, but you know, it only took me a couple minutes. I got it figured out, and if I can do it, you can do it. So I removed the power steering pump belt that went right around here like this. And the way you do that, there's actually no tensioner on here. It's sort of interesting. I've never had a car like this before. So just get down on the crank bolt, and I crank the crank bolt, turning the engine, and I used a little lever, and I got it off like a tooth, and then I just kept cranking, and then the belt ends up coming off. So, you know, it's not that difficult, but just sort of awkward. And then this was in the way, the regular belt, so I took that off as well. And the way I did that, you can see this wrench that I have on the tensioner pulley. This is the tensioner pulley. I just put a wrench on, press down, and you can see the pulley move. So I slipped that off. So then I was left with the pulley that you have to take off. And this is sort of the part where, you know, people, oh, there's not enough room. Yeah, there's enough room. You got to loosen this AC line right here. So you can loosen that. It's just a screw right down there. But basically what I did is this pulley was on the water pump, and when you go to take it off, it hits right there. But the first thing you have to do is you have to loosen the bolts. So I thought this was sort of ingenious. I used this tool, and I cracked the bolts loose, and they're pretty easy to get loose because I had the belts on, right? Don't take the belts off until after you get that on. So then, I put this in here, and you can only turn it a little bit and then recenter and turn it. So I put it in there, and all the belts are off, and all I did is crank it. And let me see if I could show you how I did that. Sort of like this, right? And I just went around and I just cranked it. Basically, I just cranked it, and the wheel cranked. It's hard for me to show you, but as you do that, it would loosen. So maybe that's why the handle's on here. I was just able to go like this, and this spun. All the bolts came off. So once I got that off, I realized that there wasn't enough room to get it out, so you have to jack up the engine. And my engine's jacked up about, maybe about 1.5 inches. It's a board right underneath the oil pan. It's not that big a deal. Couple pumps, engine comes up, and little fiddle with it, and boom, you get it out. So I feel like that was the hard part, getting the pulley out, but it really wasn't that bad. I encourage you guys to do that yourself. So the next step is to remove the old water pump. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like there's 5 bolts on there. Just going to use special little socket head. Take those off and I'll be back. So hopefully after I get this out, it should be downhill from there. If you come over to this side, you can see the water pump is now out. Wasn't too bad. There's always one bolt that's fun. I had to take my glove off to be able to get my fingertips on the bottom one to get it out, but it wasn't too bad. So come on over here. Here's the old water pump. It was installed in this orientation on the engine. So easy fun, right? Had to reach up under, but I was able to get my air ratchet on there and just zip that thing out. Now you could tell by looking at it, all this corrosion right here, and this is the reason I was replacing it, is it's been leaking. So be leaking from the seals inside of here, or maybe just weeping, but that's the reason I'm changing it. There's been, you know, puddles of water underneath the car for a little while now, and it's time to change. So here's the old, here's the new AC Delco factory replacement. Also tell by the corrosion on the lower bolts as well. See that corrosion right there? That it has been leaking, and obviously it's time for a change. I think I paid 60 bucks for that and another 10 for the tool. It will be worth it. Get the old gasket off of there, put the new gasket on, and I'll make the swap. Okay, so when last we saw, pretty much everything was disassembled, and I had the water pump out, and well, assembly was really straightforward, simple, nothing to worry about. The water pump fits in nicely. You know, the new gasket works well. Just make sure you clean the surface that it's going to go into. Then start reassembling. You know, put your belts back on, tighten down those screws on the water pump pulley. I think the hardest part of everything was the one bolt down underneath the water pump that I had to get started. And then once you get started, you got to get a wrench on it. So I was lucky enough to use my air ratchet and get a wrench on it, and at least get it in, you know, 90% of the way, and then finish torquing it down properly. But everything else is back together, and it seems to be running nice. While I was in there, I changed the belts. If you're going to do it, change the belts, right? It had the coolant drain, so I changed the upper hose, and I changed the lower hose as well. I went ahead and did an oil change, changed the air filter, and putting in fresh coolant right now. So seems like a pretty straightforward job. Took maybe, you know, I just took my time, like I said, took maybe about 3 solid hours. Probably would have taken an hour and a half if it wasn't so tough on that one bolt. But you guys could do this. This isn't that difficult of a job. Just be confident, take your time, and good luck. Okay, so like I said, if you saw any logos or anything, it was unintentional. And you know, if you like what you saw, you know, I keep making these videos. I haven't found many of them out there for this particular model. So like and comment.
Subscribe.
And subscribe. All right, thanks guys.